Everything just changed for the Los Angeles Lakers. We have multiple massive new trade updates surrounding Rob Pelinka and what his plan is this offseason. But we also have a massive report that just dropped that changes everything, not only for the two teams involved, but other teams, including the Los Angeles Lakers, as things are really starting to pick up. We're going to break down those reports and those updates and discuss what all this means going forward as things have just taken a massive turn. Folks, before we get into all that, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, you guys have been absolute beasts. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot to go over today. And obviously, the Lakers, as we know, well documented. They're interested in a center. And we have some new reports from Shams, just reports in general surrounding that, and a very encouraging report for one particular player. But we also just had a massive trade go down that affects the entire market for the Los Angeles Lakers. And it doesn't just affect, the Magic. It doesn't just affect the Grizzlies, the two teams involved. It affects everyone. And let's dive into it here. In case you missed it, Desmond Bane was traded away from the Grizzlies to the Magic. But what matters here as it pertains to the Lakers is it cost them 4 unprotected first-round picks and 1 pick swap for Desmond Bane for the Magic. Now, you're probably looking at this and thinking, wow, that is an absurd amount. And you would be right. That is a ridiculous amount to give up for Desmond Bane. Yes, he fits the Magic. Great. All these different things. But a couple things to go over here. For the Lakers who are looking to trade, now, of course, they're looking to trade for a center, but they could have also used a player similar to Desmond Bane as they're in the market for a point of attack defender, 3-and-D wing. This impacts the market a lot because for other teams now looking to trade their assets, whether that be a Walker Kessler, which we'll get into later in the video, whether that be a Nick Claxton, you're saying, hey, the Grizzlies got 4 first-round picks unprotected for a winger. What can we get for our own asset? And side note as well, this makes the Luka Doncic trade look fantastic. Obviously, they're apples and oranges, right? You can't compare them directly 1-to-1 simply because, Luka's a way better player, but B, Luka Doncic was, not really expected to get traded, and then the Lakers gave up AD back, so it's not just like, 1-for-1 pick, even though the Lakers only gave up 1 pick. What matters here, you can see the outcry around the league talking about how, Giannis can now get a ton of picks, all these different things. This affects the Lakers directly, and it also affects other teams. You can see here, if Bridges get you 5 first, Desmond Bane get you 4 first, how much you get for Drew Holiday. Like teams now that are sellers, not that the Lakers are interested in Drew Holiday or anything like that, but teams now across the league that are sellers or buyers, it affects both. Sellers are going to want a lot more for their assets following this first blockbuster trade that set the market. And the Lakers now and teams that are buyers are going to be in a lot more trouble regarding giving up assets for their player. Because, the Lakers don't have a ton of assets. And that's the unfortunate part here. Like, the Lakers obviously couldn't have got this deal done even if they wanted to, right? It was just never going to happen. They have their 2031 first. They have some swaps. They have Dalton, Knecht. But they don't have 4 first-round picks to give up into floating deals. You have swaps. You only have 1 of your own first-round picks that's really available in your 2031 pick. Now, if they're going after a guy like Walker Kessler, which a report has come out from Brian McMenamin saying Walker Kessler remains a name that Lakers are intrigued by and is on their radar. So this is a pretty big report here, and I want to cover this one now because this was, of course, dropped yesterday night before this blockbuster trade went down, and there's been a lot of rumblings. If you're the Utah Jazz, and again, it's a big man comparison versus a guard comparison, you could argue, and I probably would argue, that Desmond Bane's a more valuable player than Walker Kessler, especially for, a team, and it's a lot easier to fit a 3-and-D elite three-point shooter like Desmond Bane into a team that it's a seamless fit, right? It's a perfect mold of a player you want for a win-now team. Are the Magic that? We'll see now. They have a very solid roster. But for the Lakers, they need a center. Does this now affect the market directly? It does. And, the packages floated around for Walker Kessler. We know they have been in active talks, according to reports, with Walker Kessler on making a trade for him. We've heard the same thing about Nick Claxton. Those are the 2 guys on the radar right now. Things have started to quiet down surrounding Daniel Gafford. I think ultimately that's because the Mavericks are going to keep Daniel Gafford. But regardless, we think back to the trade deadline. There were a bunch of teams, I believe the Knicks, they're offering 2 unprotected firsts for, Walker Kessler, and they declined all these different things. It doesn't bode well for the Los Angeles Lakers, obviously with the fact that this amount of your draft capital is and was given up for, a guy. Now, there is this trade that has come out here. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. So it's Austin Reaves, Jared Vanderbilt, Shake Milton, a first-round pick swap, and a first-round pick but it's also you remove the protections on the 2027 first. So that means that, of course, because of course now, if you're unfamiliar, the Jazz have the Lakers first round pick in 2027. It is protected. So if you remove the protections on the first round pick in that year, then obviously Danny Ainge and the Jazz will probably be more likely and more willing to trade with the Lakers, because that's one of the big obstacles that the trade had at the trade deadline. The Lakers didn't want to give up a ton, but also the Jazz didn't want to give the Lakers a great player with a chance in 2027 for it to hurt them, right? Now, the Lakers get Walker Kessler, John Collins, and 2 firsts, or 2 seconds. This is like a blockbuster deal. You're giving up Austin Reaves. You're throwing in, you're getting John Collins back in the deal. You get your full rotation of big men. It is a very intriguing one. Do I like it? Kind of. You're giving up basically all your tradable assets besides Dalton Knecht here, and you're basically giving up Austin Reaves it's basically Austin Reaves for Walker Kessler, as it pertains to what it'll affect the team. And then, of course, you're getting back John Collins, another player the Lakers have been linked to. It's going to take a package like this now, though, to get a guy like Walker Kessler. You're going to have to give up first. You're going to have to give up probably Austin Reaves. Like, if anything, this makes an Austin Reaves trade a lot more, likely, just because of the fact that teams are going to want other teams to overpay. And that's the unfortunate reality of this ridiculous deal. I mean, you have the Celtics now who are trading a bunch of their players, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, because they need to get out of their luxury tax and their new ownership. They are now going to be asking a king's ransom for Drew Holiday. And let's say they trade Drew Holiday to get 3 firsts back. That still trickles down to other teams like the Jazz who are being like, hey, we're not forced to sell, so we're only going to trade our good player, Walker Kessler. The Nets, we're only going to trade our good player, Nick Claxton, if they give us an absolute haul, because other teams are getting hauls, then it makes us look bad otherwise. Like, it has a trickle-down effect that doesn't, bode great for teams that are buying, and the Lakers specifically this offseason need to make a trade for a center. The good news is the market for centers is probably not as big as it is for guys like Desmond Bane, just because of the way that teams are constructed. Though, again, Walker Kessler, I can guarantee you he would be, once he's on the market, which he is now, there's going to be a lot of teams bidding for him, and there are a lot of teams currently bidding for him, and it will take a blockbuster, crazy deal like this for things to really happen, right? And do you want to give up Austin Reaves to the Lakers? Absolutely not. Do I think this one's super likely? No. I think it's more likely a package of Knecht, a 2031 first, removal of the protections, and then a pick swap, right? Like a lot. Like 2 first-rounders, essentially. Dalton Knecht, and I mean, it swaps everything, right? You're going to have to give up everything for Walker Kessler. But I think at the end of the day, like, he is a very good player. Coming off of, a very interesting year. He is a extremely, extremely good rebounder. 11 points a game. He had his best season of his career last year. 11 points a game, 12 rebounds. He's an absolute dog on the offensive glass. Like, the Jazz are trading him at his peak value, but also the Lakers are getting him at his peak value, right? You can think of it both ways. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this. A ton of new reports coming out. A blockbuster trade that happened this morning. The first of many to come in what has been acquainted by Rob Pelinka, by Brian Windhorst, as the busiest upcoming offseason in NBA history. And we're going to keep you up to date every step of the way. One also note here is that ESPN, just a quick fun fact surrounding LeBron James, they want to hire LeBron as an analyst when he decides to walk away. We're hopeful. You talk about those two guys, James and Curry, besides their insane physical gifts and talents and all the work they've done, their basketball minds, we would all benefit from that. And I would say somebody like Chris Paul, like, they want to get in on the LeBron James stuff. I personally would love to hear LeBron as an analyst, but let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. I don't know if he is going to do it, at least right away. Strikes me as a guy who enjoy family time, watching his sons play ball. Bryce, obviously Bronny. So it's going to be interesting. But you guys are beasts. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Cheers.